All right, the Packers win a stressful stunner at Lambeau Field to keep their home opening winning streak alive. Matt LaFleur, Malik, Willis, and Josh Jacobs ball out to get the Packers this victory.
Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey. Yeah. Ain't no errors, baby. It's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm cashed.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Soundsgouda. I am Jordan Olson. This is my co-host Rob Ralph, and we are very excited to be here after the Packers' first victory this season. Certainly, maybe not how many of us expected it to turn out, but we're happy to be here for us on what is a Victory Monday talking about this game. So thanks for everybody who's joining us, to our new and returning listeners. We're always excited, but this week we got a little extra juice because we're coming off that victory. And just a reminder that we have new episodes every week on Thursday on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. We might be working on switching that up as we start a new routine here. We're going to maybe do some double headers. And we're going to do a game recap that's going to come out earlier in the week. We're still kind of to be determined on what date. And then do a game preview for the next week. But yeah, let's jump right into it. So Rob, you were at Lambeau Field. So how was the vibe? And how are you feeling?
Oh, man. My first ever home opener. I'll just get a couple things out of the way. My God, was it hot. Like, the second recorded hottest game, I think, at Lambeau or something is what they were saying. Now, I had 3/4 of shade, so I'm definitely being a baby. Because 80% of Lambeau was in most of that sun. But, man, it was just absolutely scorching hot. But, I've been told by many people, I'm sure by you, Jordan, more than a few times or two, that, you got to make it to a home opener, man. You got to do it. Like, it's just something about it, no matter whoever's on the schedule, whatever opponent you're playing, it's just something magical. The fireworks going off, the national anthem, the big flame flyovers and that stuff too, and the energy from the crowd was absolutely unreal. Like, we've been to a couple playoff games, right? And we've heard some pretty energetic, pretty ruckus crowds. But man, I don't know if it was just I was a prisoner of the moment. Not exactly a prisoner, but I was just enjoying that moment and was just so much into that. Maybe I was just feeling that up as much as it was. But man, we were screaming and yelling on 1st and 10 almost every single time the Colts came out in offense, for the defense. So it was just electric, man. I know we'll get into some of the game recap and whatnot here too, but I got to take my father-in-law and brother-in-law, and he got to take his son for the first time. So there's tons of pictures of stuff going on like that. It's just, the atmosphere is nothing quite like it. Got to park in lot 3, got to hang out and meet some Colts and some new Packers fans too and whatnot as well. So it was just amazing, man. It's just absolutely nothing like it. And it's a long day, it's a long drive, no doubt, but absolutely incredible, and especially to come out of that with a win.
Yeah, and crazy. Just temper that with everything that you just said and all the excitement. And a lot of Packers fans were going into this game expecting a loss, right? Just imagine what that vibe would have been like coming off a Week 1 win against the Eagles with Jordan Love in this new era. So, I mean, even if that, with the loss to the Eagles and Jordan Love and the excitement, not to take anything away from that, but I think that just goes to show you how special a place Lambeau is. The Packers fans, we turn out, we support our team, and the vibes are always immaculate on opening day at Lambeau. So, overall impressions of the game. Obviously, Matt LaFleur and Adam Stenavich, they did a masterful job of putting together a game plan that not only... Yes, let's give them a round of applause. That not only accentuated what they needed to do, but they got Malik Willis through his first, start as a Green Bay Packer 3 weeks into being in the building.
First touchdown pass, baby.
he had an outstanding performance, highlighted the abilities of Josh Jacobs and what this running game might be able to bring. And then, the offensive line. So, I mean, what do you think about that running game, Rob, and the defense? Or, I mean, what are you most excited about? Where do you want to start?
Yeah, I guess we touched on it too, right? Coming on from our last video, but run the ball, play good defense at a very, very high level. They did exactly those two things, and not only that, but the Colts knew that they were going to come and they were going to run the ball. So, some of these orbit motions, these jet sweeps, these kind of creative ways to get Josh Jacobs and company the ball and to run it was Matt LaFleur was in his bag a little bit on some of that. And, not only to that, but like Josh Jacobs' credit too, he made a guy or two miss a tackle. Just going back and rewatching some of that tape was just absolutely incredible where, their linebacker was in the hole and then he makes another cut and then bounces off to the side for 10, 12 yards or whatever it was before he gets tackled. I mean, he's as advertised so far, it's just been...
He was looking loose and warmed up from his week one, basically preseason game in week one, and he looked like 2022 Josh Jacobs.
Man, did he ever. You would think here at some point, too, like he was like they were going to... I know they were playing. I think they were. I don't have the exact snap counts, but from what I was looking at, they were putting more people down in the box, knowing that the run was coming, and they were still able to, get some good penetration there with that defense as well. So it was absolutely just a masterful plan to run the ball, and then on the other side too, the defense. Man, I have never seen a crowd so hyped for this defense, like I was just alluding to, just screaming and yelling, "Let's go!" McKinney to get a pick. Eric Wilson, who graded out really well in this game, on actually what was probably an even more impressive pick on that route that he did. And then Evan Williams at the game there too. I know that was the Hail Mary, so it kind of just chucked it up. But just absolutely amazing. Some of the concepts that they did too with the cornerbacks was really cool, going back and watching some of the plays and whatnot too. So just a credit to the defense and overall just the game plan from Matt LaFleur and Adam Stenovich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 261 yards on 53 attempts. So, as you said, I think one of the most impressive things and probably one of my biggest question marks going into next week, and we won't spend a lot of time talking about next week, but, the Colts knew that they were going to run, and like you said, they couldn't stop them in the first half. I am a little worried that they kind of got slowed down in the second half, and I wonder how that's going to translate versus the Titans now that they've seen some of what to expect on tape. Yep. The Colts obviously made adjustments, and I think we only ended up with like 30-something of those 261 rushing yards in the second half. So Matt LaFleur is going to have to go in his bag again and come up with some fresh stuff for next week to maybe get us one more win, and then whatever happens from there against the Vikings and a really good and interesting looking Cardinals team after that. You hope you get Jordan Love back for either that Cardinals game or that Rams game. But we're not talking about the future too much right now. Time of possession, the Colts, it happened to them again. The Packers had the ball for 40 minutes and 11 seconds. The Colts only had the ball for 19 minutes and 49 seconds. So again, the Colts showed their weakness in the fact that they could not put together and sustain long drives. And as we did, the defense took the deep ball away from Anthony Richardson and this team, and they were not able to put points on the board sustainably. And I have to wonder if the Josh Jacobs fumble doesn't happen and we go up 17-0, and the score is looking something like 26-3 going into the final minutes of the game. I don't think the Colts even make that push. I think we're feeling really good about this game. Much different than the result we had where it ended up being 16-10. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That Josh Jacobs fumble there, and what was actually a pretty good play. I think the ball was coming loose, but as he's right going to the goal line, he was going to score. He just strips it out, and that's didn't end up killing us, but definitely hurt. And then obviously the Narvison, the 40-yard field goals. Luckily, I know the Colts had a chance there to win it towards the end of the game, but you got to make those kicks, right? And sooner rather than later, that type of those type of misses too. That's and chances as well. 10 points we left off the board there. That's going to end up hurting us here at some point. So we definitely need to clean that up.
Yeah, and even 19-3 at that point in time would have definitely put that game out of reach. We'll give Narvison a little bit of a freebie here. He's going to get into a game or two, I hope, where he goes 100% on the day, and then maybe some of the pressure comes off of, hey, I'm a new kicker on a team that's really pushing to get a lot out of their kicking performance, because we've had bad kicking last year. So we'll see with Narvison and what happens there. I mean, another just special team shout out. I won't spend a lot of time talking to, but what a weapon that Daniel Whalen is. His 3 punts inside the 20. He completely turned the field around on that one drive with that 60-some yarder, and didn't give the Colts a short field, which was huge in a game that's a defensive and field position battle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you could tell just even being at the game, the Colts just looked uncomfortable for the first 3 quarters. They started to pick it up a little bit there towards the fourth. They actually started to get a lot more momentum when they got into their hurry-up type of offense. They contained Anthony Richardson pretty well, just like they did similar to the game previous with Jalen Hurts. So that was impressive. I know there towards the end, he's able to escape out of the pocket. It was actually kind of similar to the Eagles game, where he was just able to get loose a little bit. But I thought overall, just really good. There was some really bad drops as well from the Colts guys too. So whether there was a drop pass or whatever it was, I'm kind of surprised. And as much as they gave Jonathan Taylor the ball, I'm surprised they didn't give it to him more to take that pressure off, because it seems like when they were really trying to ride Jonathan Taylor, he's a really good running back. Obviously, we all know him from being a Badger. They were carrying a ton of momentum when they started to give him the rock more. So I'm just glad that wasn't more in their game plan.
There had to be more to the story there, and honestly, I had a busy day at work. I should have circled back on that, but Jonathan Taylor hardly played in that fourth quarter, and you have to wonder if there wasn't some kind of injury, or hey, it's week 2 in a game we're losing, and we're not going to risk not having Jonathan Taylor for multiple weeks. So maybe some of our listeners, more than we do with the Taylor, if there was an injury or not. But I mean, if he wasn't injured, then I have no clue what Shane Steichen and they were doing, because he was killing us for a while. And again, that's probably we're doing some great things on defense. We have 7 turnovers so far this year?
6 or 7, yeah.
No, it can't be that many. We had 3 interceptions this week.
We had 3 last week, so I think it's 6.
Yeah, so I think we had 2 interceptions through the first 2 weeks last year.
Right.
And we've got 6 so far, right? So obviously, we're taking the ball away. We're winning the turnover battle. Again, 3-1 in this game. But I don't know if it's conditioning. I don't know if it's coaching and discipline. But again, as you alluded to, struggling a little bit late in the game to slow down running backs and mobile quarterbacks, which that's been a problem of ours for 10 years. So hopefully, as the season goes on, Hafley can finally solve that problem in this defense.
Yeah, I'll say again, though, too, Xavier McKinney has already been well worth it 2 games in, another pick, but I think it was one of the big Jonathan Taylor runs, and I just had major flashbacks of Darnell Savage missing tackles. He was able to get Jonathan Taylor out after he gained a massive amount of yards. But if McKinney doesn't make that tackle on Jonathan Taylor, he would have easily been gone. So he's making more of an impact just on the interceptions, which is just amazing on itself, But you're exactly right. You definitely need to clean up some of those hurry-up type of offenses. And them getting a lot more momentum and points there towards the fourth quarter and the end of the game.
Yeah, so, and, one thing Rob and I are doing, and now that we have this new kind of format for the season, we're going to try to make these videos a little shorter, maybe 20, 25 minutes, try to get through this content on your way to work or, whatever you're at. So, going to jump into a little bit individual performances, and then we'll kind of, close out with a look around the league. But, who stood out to you in this game? Obviously a lot to talk about, but, who were your guys from this game, Rob?
I mean, Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs and the offensive line. I was listening to Matt LaFleur's press conference, and I was hearing that, the offensive line might have had a bad day of practice, and he brings him over, he talks to him, he says it's going to be up to you. If we win this game, it's going to be because of you guys. And they just were absolutely excellent. I felt like there was a play there too where it's so hot, and I can imagine it was hot in the stadium, so being hot down there in the field. But Josh Myers pukes like literally right before he snaps the ball to Malik Willis, and Malik Willis ends up taking it over on the side for like 5 yards for a run or whatever it was. But absolutely, Josh Jacobs and the offensive line. Xavier McKinney, right, for the pick and for some of those good tackles on Jonathan Taylor to prevent him from scoring. Overall, just the secondary I thought was really good. I know Devontae Wyatt had a really cool stunt for where he got on the edge and he got a sack, so that was awesome. He looks like he's going to be really good in this new system for Halfley. Lucas Van Ness made a good couple of tackles, and I believe he had a sack too as well, so that was really good. And then how could you not give another game ball to Malik Willis? Matt LaFleur brought it up, but he got in here 3 weeks ago, so for him to have somewhat sort of competence with all the different motioning that they did, and they did a lot for him. I know he didn't throw the ball that much, but when he did, Dobbs made a huge catch. He even got it to Tucker Kraft for a couple of first downs, I believe. He made some really good calculated types of throws, and he didn't turn the ball over, And like I was alluding to in our previous episode that we had last week, some of your off-script kind of quarterback runs. They had a couple of those, and I was counting on some of those to happen. And then they had some broken down plays where he almost had one where he got into the end zone too there as well. So him being an athletic quarterback, him not to turn the ball over, and him to kind of master what they're asking him to do was just absolutely incredible. What about for you?
Yeah, you got a lot of them, right? I think Devontae Wyatt for me was particularly impressive, and I think he was the only one to record a sack for the Packers. Lucas Van Ness did have a nice tackle for loss where he was in the backfield on a handoff and created a big thing there. So, Romeo Dobbs is a guy who stood out to me. Obviously, he had the most receiving yards, but again and again, when there's big moments to be had, like game-saving moments, Romeo Dobbs shows up. So he might not be, Jaden Reed, which is going to end up with, probably multiple 100-yard receiving games this year, but with both Jordan Love and Malik Willis, you've seen when I need a big throw and I know I need to throw it up and somebody's going to come down with it, they're trusting Romeo to do that. And that was huge, that 40-yard reception on that third down conversion. It truthfully, if that didn't happen, the Colts likely would have gotten the ball back, maybe would have ran it with Jonathan Taylor, and it could have the momentum could have easily shifted the other way. That's a very underrated play in this game. And then Evan Williams, he shows up really in his first game with real playing time, and that was very apparent in the last couple minutes with him on the hands team as the onside kick recovery and the pick to end the game. But to be critical a little bit, because, I don't want to be all sunshine and rainbows. Rashawn Gary, I'm kind of wondering where he's been through the first 2 weeks. Now, next week, we've got a completely different type of quarterback that we're going to attack. So hopefully we see a guy who pins his ears back and goes after the quarterback. But for all the hype around him in training camp, we haven't seen him, do as much as we've expected. A lot of talk about Quay Walker. I'm not going to beat a dead horse there, but I think we obviously need to see some better play from him. He hasn't been extremely instinctual. I still think he's overthinking things. And I mean, drop a give-me interception that would have sealed the game at that point in time. And then Rasheed Walker's had a couple. Rasheed Walker's had a couple of tough games through the first 2 weeks. He kind of needs to get his penalties under control overall. I think the Packers committed 6 penalties for 50 yards, but mostly in the first half, and then they kind of gotten their stuff together. And then one critique, as much as I'm going to just give a lot of praise, a lot of flowers to Matt LaFleur, I think he was a little too conservative in the third quarter, and I think he could have been a little bit more aggressive one drive earlier to try to, put the Packers out in front and really put it away. So with that, we're just gonna do a little look around the league, and then we're gonna wrap this one up. So, Rob, why don't you throw some of those storylines at us?
Yeah, here we go. To quote Dak Prescott, "You're welcome, everybody." But a quick look.
Great impersonation.
Thank you. Bow down. Yes. The Lions lose to the Bucks in the 2023 playoff rematch. That was one of my locks of the week, just as far as like spreads and bets and stuff too. So Buccaneers are playing really well. Vikings. Is Sam Darnold, the next up and coming? Is he going to pull a Baker Mayfield and absolutely resurrect his career? They are 2-0 and they beat a really, really good team in the 49ers. Kind of an off day for Purdy. They don't have CMC there, but Jordan Mason's a very capable running back. So it's a big surprise there. The Bears get brought down back to earth. Whew. I don't know. I got to watch a little bit of that game last night, and it just absolutely looks like he was running for his life. They have a pretty bad offensive line, specifically there on the interior. So,
and Caleb Williams has yet to throw a touchdown pass as an NFL quarterback. So now the pressure's on, and we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can get pressure on him, it seems like he's going to be running for his life. So the Bears get brought down back to earth. The Raiders. Man, beat the Ravens in Baltimore. Wow. That was another one I did not see. And something maybe, is it time to panic for the 0-2 Ravens? I don't think so. I think that they'll end up bounce back. They're just way too good. And then apparently now the Saints are an offensive juggernaut. They absolutely destroy the Cowboys. They destroyed the Panthers. And Derek Carr looks like he's getting a lot more comfortable. Looks like they're doing a little bit more motion in that offense. And he's just throwing some bombs to Rashid Shaheed. So the Saints are looking really, really good so far to start the year. And then the Chiefs do it again. They win, whether you want to blame that on the refs or not. And then the Bengals, 0-2. That's another team that, it's debatable whether it's time to panic or not there as well. So we just want to thank you to our subscribers. Thank you to everyone for coming in and listening to us. We do have more Packers content. We will continue to roll out here the couple of videos for this week, these shorter type of clips that Jordan was alluding to. We appreciate it, too, if you share it with any sort of friends, family, any other sort of Packers fans. And if you are watching on YouTube, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. Jordan and I are on Twitter as well. I am at Robber79. Jordan is at Olson Jord. So we definitely appreciate that. And we're looking forward to another really good game here against the Tennessee Titans. But until next time, Packers fans, we hope you have a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good night. Thanks. Go Pack, go.
Been wanted this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey.